First house I hit is a correction officer's home.
Oh.
And I knock on the door, no one comes. I go through into the back and go into the home with gloves on. I pull out the air conditioner and pull myself in, pull the air conditioner back in. When I'm in the house is when I see that it's a correction officer's his uniform.
Oh, shit.
And,
God,
cuffs and gun.
We're lucky to have Dion here.
Yes, we are,
It was
man.
very short notice, so thank you for coming.
Thank y'all for having me.
Of course. I met Dion, literally met him for the first time last Saturday.
Okay.
He was
Shit.
speaking at a correctional facility workshop that had to do with recovery. Got to hear him speak. Didn't hear the whole story, but we'll get to hear it today.
Yeah.
So
Good shit.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I
So-
definitely been doing this here recently.
Yeah, because you have a public speaking company.
Yes, sir. It's called Motivators in Action, MIA.
Okay. MIA.
Okay. And what's the goal of that?
Really just to help people from my experience, whether that helps them or not, just to put my experience out there to help become free mentally and physically.
Okay.
And, I want to bring in other individuals who have lived experiences that want to do that same type of thing. So I
Share
came
the
with
experience to
this.
help people.
Yeah, man. One criminal helping another criminal is without parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
good.
that's what we do too. I mean, that's
Yeah.
literally we're doing the same thing. So this is great. Tell us about how you grew up.
Citizen.
Yeah, you're all three of us.
Yeah.
Sort of can be done. Look. Yeah.
We're restored,
We're restored.
if that's what you want to call it.
That's what I call it.
Tell us about where you grew up, man, and how life was for you as a kid.
So I'm originally from Steubenville, Ohio. Most of my whole family is from there, and my mother and I came to Columbus in around '84 when I was about 3 years old. Moved to my aunt and uncle's house on the north side of Columbus, in Brittany Hills.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then my mother and I, we moved to Capitol Park, for about a year. And then we moved to the south side of Columbus off of Parsons. I was raised down
Okay,
there.
so you were raised on the south side.
Yes, sir.
What was that like? Because we've all heard our stories.
I've done some time on the
south
south
side,
side,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I love people walking around with no shoes on, and it was many different cultures. It was, especially in the 80s. I was born in 81.
Yeah, because you're in your 40s.
Yeah, I'm 43 years old. So back in the 80s and 90s, especially when crack had really hit, Parsons was a world inside of a world. And there were many poor individuals of different cultures and creeds that were growing up amongst each other. So you got friends in different cultures that aren't looking at you as a color, they're looking at you as another poor person.
Mm-hmm.
So you're over at this friend's house watching wrestling, and then you go over to this friend's house, and the parents know you. They making sure you fed. They making sure all the kids are going to school. You know what I mean? So it was definitely a different world in the early 80s, and as it started filtering over into the 90s, you start seeing a change. And it was more, now we're seeing prostitutes, and now everybody's wanting to be dope boys. And, we're starting to see it on TV being glorified. And so it changed, and then most of us had family members that were dealing with addictions. And so we were seeing it.
Which is pretty common,
For sure.
whether people want to admit it or not.
Yeah. Whether people let it take advantage of them, most people have some type of vice inside of the household that the children are seeing. But
So
it was listen, I came from a family that was more so an amazing village of different cultures and creeds. And my blood village, they took a hold of me and gave me little pieces of themselves in different situations.
So you feel like you had a shot, like you feel like you were raised properly.
I was. Both my parents were not together. They were boyfriend and girlfriend, and they conceived me and split. And they were both teenagers. My father was brought up here to Columbus and put into the military, and my mother went to cosmetology school in Steubenville, and then that's when we came to Columbus. So my parents had two different households, and then I had those families, and I was able to, grow through that. But other than that, it was a split household. I had an amazing upbringing. None of my needs was ever.
You had everything you wanted or needed?
No. All of my needs was there.
Okay.
It was those wants
Gotcha.
that started to filter inside of me, and seeing kids at school and always getting cracked on about thrift store clothes, and we had shot and stings and stuff like, the low income stuff. All I seen was, man, I got some nice shoes, but I didn't realize I wasn't going to the mall like all my friends.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So little by little, things started getting to me personally, and I started having wants that my mom couldn't provide, and so I started going to go find it myself.
Okay. And you're growing up in that environment, and you see people finding ways to make money, I assume.
Most definitely.
And did you jump into that world?
Not the drug world as much as the stealing world.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easier.
Aaron knows something about that.
I do.
It was definitely easier to sneak and find ways to get better at it. And when I would get caught, I was learning how to manipulate the situations and lie better. And so, I didn't realize that I was starting to get a feeling of adrenaline from stealing. My mother, she had me in African dancing when I was very young. And little by little, my mom kept me involved with a lot of great things. So I'm on the news here, and I'm over here doing this. And my mom, she was young, but she had values, and she was learning how to be an adult while taking care of a child. You know what I mean? She was really a child taking care of a child. Now she's learning how to be an adult. So my family was coming in and helping, and they was putting me into a lot of things. So I was learning that I had talents inside of me, even though I wasn't grateful as much for what was in front of me. I still wanted more. I couldn't understand that I was not ever satisfied. I just knew I was continuously chasing.
Yep, I know the feeling.
So what are you stealing at first? Just like shoes, clothes, like stuff like that?
Candy.
Candy, okay, yeah.
How old are you?
I can remember we had a department store called IGA, and they had the candy aisles, and we would go in and we would load up and slide out. So one day my mom came, I was in the 5th grade, and my mom came into the store, and she seen me, and it was wintertime, and I had a winter coat on. And my mom came over and patted me down in the middle of the store.
Damn.
Everybody watching, I'm so embarrassed. I'm like this with my arms out, and
you're a kid.
I'm a kid. And she was like, boy, you ain't got no money, get out of here. And so I ran out the store, went to the back, and I had the candy up in my shoulder pads. And I pulled them out, 2 bags of candy, and I was so angry, I threw them down behind the dumpster and took off back to the house because she told me to go home. I better be there before she got there. That next morning, I went back over there to try to find my candy.
Get the candy.
Somebody done got it.
Somebody got it.
Dang, got it.
My mom, she knew me, you know what I mean? And I felt like she was trying to tame the beast from a young age, and she would pay for everything that I would get in trouble for stealing, like to keep me out of juvie.
Yep.
She put me in Scared Straight when I was 12.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was that at?
And that's the thing where like they send you to
Yeah.
like jail.
Okay,
Let you do
so-
like a walkthrough, right?
So back in that time, before you went to Marion or before you went to the Ohio OP, Ohio Penitentiary, they would put you through counseling. If you continue to escalate, then they would take you to the prison.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Scared Straight in the classes. Well, I'll say I manipulated the situation to make it work for me, because what we would do is my mom would take me to the classes on the north side, and we would always stop at this gas station. And so she would have me go in to pay for the gas, and I would always steal candy and take it to the class.
Take you to the Scared Straight classes.
Yes. So I was sitting there finding myself still finding more ways to get sneakier. And then as I got older and I started seeing how I was calculating things, I could really see that this was becoming a part of who my identity was at that age. And I seen how people viewed me, that I was having things that they weren't having. Or I'm selling video games and stuff that I'm stealing from this store or that store, and people looking at me in a certain way. And so I wasn't the big dope dealer as a teenager, but I was the guy coming up.
Yeah,
with
you were
stolen
somebody.
clothes.
You was, yeah.
Yes, I was somebody in my neighborhood. And to me, that's really all I knew. Besides the south side of Columbus, at 8 years old, I was asked to go to a church. The church bus would come into our neighborhood every week doing soul winning, and then they eventually would come knocking on doors, trying to get more people to come. So the Barretts asked me to come, and I started going, and that was in Canal Winchester. So most of my existence in the 80s and 90s was in between the south side of Columbus and Canal Winchester. Now, that was more affluent individuals that was going to this church. So I would come to the south side. I'm in poverty in the hood, and you know what I mean? And then I would go to Heritage. And I was gaining friends in that area, and so they would take me to their houses.
Oh, man.
And now I'm seeing how different it is compared to where I live, compared to where they live, and I'm seeing the toys and everything, and I'm like, wow, I like this. How do I keep this? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Oh, that just broke down a wall. I started to realize that yes, sir, and yes, ma'am
Gets you a long way.
was a manipulative tool. My mom made sure I never went without saying yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I used to say I didn't know my mama's name until I was like 9 years old.
So just yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All the time.
Yes. But the reality of it is I started to utilize that to break down walls, get close to people, and then steal.
I was just going to ask you, are you hitting licks over there? Like,
Yes.
man, I got these nice big houses now.
So there's a clear escalation here, and it's so funny because I did similar things as a kid. Before I even picked up a drink or a drug, I would steal these fucking quarters out of my dad's bucket, and I remember I went to Radio Shack and bought this RC car with it. You know what I mean? And so you're doing all these things, and okay, it's candy, and now we're in these rich people's homes, and as you get older, it continues to escalate.
Yes.
What's the first time you like really get in trouble? You see a consequence.
So when I was 15, I was working at something they had back in the day called PIC, Private Industry Council. During the summertime, they gave the teenagers summer jobs, and we cleaned up the neighborhoods. So I had done this for 2 years, and the rec center was the one I grew up at right across the street from. We lived in metropolitan housing on the south side, and the south side settlement was right across the street. So I had spent most of my whole life going there to that point, and I knew where the safe was.
Oh.
And so While we were working, the building was there wasn't a whole bunch of people in the building, as far as I thought. So I go to the back where the offices is, and they're sitting at the table right next to the office that has the safe inside of it, but the safe is open. And so while they're talking, I crawl beside, go in, take some envelopes out, and go back out.
Army crawled.
Yep. And I'm 15 years old, and I had like $1,500 inside of the envelopes. And so what I do, I want everybody to know I got it. So I take and buy people the food at the store and stuff that work with me.
Like immediately?
Like that day.
That day, okay.
And while we were going, we're working through the neighborhood, and we'll walk past stores. So I'm buying stuff for people, and one of the guys ended up telling on me later on that week.
Oh.
So the rec center calls my mother. They do an intervention, surround me, put me in a chair in the middle of them, and start chastising me. And I'm crying and stuff, and they tell my mom that she had to pay the money in order for me not to go to juvie. And I seen the tears was definitely working, and I definitely felt some sense of remorse, but more so it was about me getting caught.
Getting caught, yeah.
You don't want to be in trouble.
I mean, I was definitely a impulsive kid, but I can even remember in middle school me stealing the teacher's money, and it was her son's newspaper money.
Klepto.
Damn.
Yep.
Fuck.
And we went to United Skates.
United States,
And I bought everybody.
Is that like a fucking skating rink?
Oh, yeah.
On Refugee Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I started buying food and candy and stuff.
So you just love to be like the man,
Yeah,
essentially.
I think it was. I loved having friends.
Mm-hmm.
I loved being accepted.
Yeah.
I loved being liked. And I was willing to take risk to get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When's the first time you see legal trouble? From the safe?
No, because like I said,
She
So
paid
your
it
mom
back.
paid it off?
Yeah, my mom paid it.
So
off.
she absolutely furious at you that she's now got to pay $1,500 for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And this is the 80s. And
Yeah,
90s.
$1,500 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
used
point.
to say, my mom, she had designer belts. Like,
Oh.
they whistled when they whipped you. But she was such an amazing woman. And she had my sister. She's 11 years younger than me. So this is, like I told you, I went to Scare Straight at 12. My mother had my sister at 11. When I was 11. And my sister had diabetes immediately. So she was juvenile diabetic, and she was clinically blind in one eye. So all my mother's attention had to go to my sister.
Yeah.
Now. So what I essentially at that time didn't understand, but now I'm older and I have done a lot of soul searching and understanding of self, gaining knowledge of self. I know now she was my best friend. And I felt like I had just lost my best friend when my sister came in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had resentment against my sister,
Right.
who was innocent. And now I went out to the streets. And I started, the Bloods came to Lincoln Projects, and a lot of my friends, we were all in middle school. We started dealing with them individuals, and it was like, you were friends or...
Paint a picture. What does that look like for anybody who has never lived that? Or, quite frankly, I don't know how that looks. You said the Bloods, they come, whatever. You start hanging out with them. How does that happen? How do you find yourself in a gang or...
Well, for one, when the gentleman came to Lincoln Projects, you just came to a group of people that was already friends,
Mm-hmm.
that was already comrades, already fighting together, already maybe getting money together. But now you just put structure. you put a name upon these individuals. We all was going to elementary together at Reeb and middle school at Berry, and you know what I mean, now Barrett, and now everybody is saying, all right, we're going to rep this. If anybody disrespect this, this is how we react to this, and you got to show that you really a part of this. So it was more so in the beginning, it was just friends saying, we just
Right.
doing it with a color now. And so for me, I was looking for acceptance. I felt like my mom now wasn't accepting me the same way. She didn't have time for me the same way. She wasn't at my events the
Right.
same way. And my mom, she invested a lot of energy in learning how to keep my sister alive.
Mm-hmm.
And she put my sister into the Diabetes Association, and my sister was deemed the 5th most fragile juvenile diabetic when she was 5 years old. And she's went on campaigns and met the president. She's done a lot. Like I said, when my mom put me into a lot of stuff at a young age, and my sister as well. But I was searching for something, and so I went out to the streets. My higher power, God, was still there with me. When I told you I started going to church, I started understanding a little bit about God and religion. And that rec center that I had grew up at, they ended up having a tour of people that was coming through. And we happened to be there. I was 13. We were there painting in the back area at the rec center. And they came around, they introduced themselves to some of the kids, and I was right by the door to exit out. And so they stopped, and the gentleman asked me a question. I said my name, and he said his name, and he asked me a question. I said, can you rephrase the question? I don't understand what you're asking me. Now, I don't remember anything else. I just remember asking that, and he sat back, he looked at me, he rephrased the question, I answered it. He said, it was very nice to meet you, and they left. His name was Erie Chapman. He was the president of Riverside Hospital, and he was on a campaign for United Way. And he was going around to all the different rec centers and was going to give one of them $100,000 through United Way because of what they were doing for the community. A week later, he calls me, and he wants to meet me. And they bring my mother over to the rec center, and she agrees to it, and I end up getting taken to Riverside Hospital to meet this gentleman. He ended up giving me a scholarship to college.
Damn, at 13.
It was about a year later.
Okay.
I was 14. They ended up giving that rec center the $100,000, the spot that I ended up trying to rob. And I thought life was really structured.
Yeah.
Like, I know now what I'm going to be doing. You know what I
Right.
mean? In the future, just got to make it to that point. Well, I'm still a kid, man. You know what I mean? I'm getting in trouble in school, and my 8th grade year, I get into it with the teacher at Berry Middle School, and then my mother come in, she get into it, and I get taken out of the school.
Oh, they expelled you?
They suspended me, and then my mom just said, "No, you're not.
No,
You're
we're
done.
good. Yeah.
There was a little period where me and my mom are talking, and I'm like, well, maybe I could ask Erie Chapman if instead of paying for college, you could pay for the Christian school. And so my mom was like, yeah. So we called him. He was apprehensive about it because now you're saying you want the money now,
Yeah.
and blah, 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 you know. He was like, listen, we'll pay 3 years, and my mom paid the rest. And so it was my end of my 8th grade year, so I went to summer school, and then my mom paid my 12th grade year. But other than that, little by little throughout my teenage years, great things would happen, and then I would mess things up.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like you had a good upbringing. Your mom was fantastic. You had these opportunities, which I can relate to. Where did it go wrong? When did, decision, what event took place that derailed this whole thing?
So, what you haven't heard me speak much about is my father. But my father was very impactful in my life, even not being there, because he was in the military and he was in school. Man, I guess water.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
My father is Dr. Brian Patterson. He has his PhD from Ohio State. He was a teacher, a professor at Columbus State and Dade University.
Wow.
And he has a private practice in Worthington. I had two amazing parents who had their own lives that they were still learning how to create. So they didn't know how to necessarily be the parents that I was seeing on TV.
Right.
The parents that I thought that I seen, because you see the good stuff inside of homes more so when you're there in the daytime. You don't necessarily see what's going on in the evening times. So to see the two-parent dichotomy that was going on at my friends' houses, now I'm coming home and I don't see that. And I can't call upon my dad when I need to talk to him, and I don't know how to talk to my mom about this.
Right.
This. I had a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and I learned how to compartmentalize everything. And my mom was putting me into counseling and stuff like that, and what I was doing was taking that knowledge and using it against them. No, I don't know. I don't know. But if y'all said if I do this, this, and this, then now I'm using your words against you. I'm pulling off the stuff that works for me, but nah. And I was starting to steal, fight, do everything to get this anger out of me, to get that attention I wanted from my mother.
Right.
And now when I get hit by a car, my dad's showing up at the hospital. I get into this situation, my dad's showing up. Oh, okay. The things that I was lacking, the things that I didn't see was festering inside of me. And little by little, it was getting bigger and bigger. And it escalated. It escalated. And I started really getting good at stealing. And then when I started selling drugs, it was just like I didn't get high until I graduated from high school. So I had something else that was giving me that unquenchable thirst. There was just that need to have my group. We getting lists of what we want. People are putting in orders and stuff, and I'm like, dang man, this is real. This is what I do every day. And then when I started putting drugs into the situation, now I'm doing everything to make sure I keep a sack in my pocket.
What drugs are you selling?
Crack.
Yeah.
Crack.
And what year was this?
99.
Okay. So crack was still very popular.
Huge, yeah, pills are starting to become like
especially
a thing
south.
now.
Yeah, pills was really.
What pills
up
were
and
you
coming.
getting? Oxys?
Oxy 80s. Got a few of them Oxy 160s.
Oh,
Man,
shit.
The white whale.
I've never seen
pills,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never seen a perk 30. Like, you know what I mean? Like the stuff the newer stuff today. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
I'm
you
like,
were.
like what? But
So how'd you get hemmed up?
so.
And we talked before. You did a very lengthy prison stint.
Yeah.
Did jail become normal? Are you in and out of jail before the prison stint, or what? How do you land there?
All right. So bringing it to a head of what really happened was I graduated from high school. I signed up for Texas Baptist College, and I signed up for the Marines with my best friend.
So interesting to hear all this because it sounds like you're making like decent decisions.
Yeah.
Like
that at that time, because I still had my mother. I had people that were still telling you, you know, you do this and you do this. It wasn't now me. do I want to do this? I don't got to do this. No. I got to do this. When they were in power. Now I'm in power, and I'm not really sure what to do. When I graduated from high school and I signed up for this, and this was because I wanted structure. I just didn't know exactly what I wanted. I went to Texas for my senior dinner with my friends and stuff from the Christian school that I graduated from in Canal, Winchester, called Heritage Baptist Church. And it was that same church that I started going to when I was 8. Now, the best way to describe it is, man, when I started getting high. When I started getting high, then I started focusing on the weed.
You just smoking weed?
That's it.
Okay.
And drinking. I started focusing on that. I didn't understand that I had an addictive personality. All I knew was, dang, man, I like this. Why did I wait so long? And so I ended up moving in with a friend of mine on the east side of Columbus. And I ended up burglarizing an apartment in Walnut Glen Apartments in 2000. And during that, they pull up while I'm there.
The cops or the people that live there?
The people first.
Oh, shit.
And I see them out the window. They're looking at me.
So they see you, too?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
boy.
It's nighttime, so they can't really see my face.
Right.
But cops pull up. I run out the front of the apartment. The cop opens up the door. He's like, what apartment you coming from? I'm like, the one upstairs. He's like, all right, get out of here. He's like, no, hold on. So he puts me down. And I go to jail for the first time in my life.
How old are you?
18.
18, man.
Yeah. And the county jail is, crazy situation. But when I wake up the next day, I go to court. They're giving me an OR bond.
Nice.
So I leave that very next day. I don't tell nobody. Like, I don't want nobody to know I just got arrested.
Right.
I'm signed up for college. I'm signed up for the Marines. And 2 weeks later, there's a warrant out for my arrest for another burglary that my fingerprints was on.
Oh, shit.
So when the cops pull up behind me, I'm in a stolen car. I take them on a high-speed chase. And I get arrested.
What kind of chase are we
Yeah,
talking
I
here?
want to hear about that. So, like,
Yeah,
they pull up behind you.
I've never participated in one.
You know you're screwed right now. So you're just like, all right, outrun them.
So I got at first it was 3 of us in the car. We were smoking. The one individual gets out. The other individuals in the passenger side. I drive up the alley, and a cop pulls in the other section of the alley. I try to flag them on. They like,
Nah.
I go forward. They get behind me. I turn up to the stop sign. Go straight again. Put my signal on. Turn right. And there's a stop sign coming up, but then there's a side road. And before I get to that sign, I hit the side road and took off. I get about 2 blocks away. The cop is coming. I skid between a telephone pole and a dumpster. And I'm like Dukes of Hazzard.
Slide
like,
on in there. Yeah.
I'm all in it. And in that moment, my adrenaline's pumping. All I'm thinking about is get away. I'm not thinking I'm going to hurt nobody. I'm not thinking, I'm just get away.
Yeah.
And I slide down an alley, jump out. My associate jumps out, and the car almost hits him, but he runs up the street a little bit, and I run beside the house, run up into the house, and then he comes a couple seconds later.
This is a random house?
Nah, this is his house.
Oh, okay.
His parents is there.
Oh, boy.
So when I run up into the house, his father says, "What's going on?" The dogs are barking. "What's going on?" I just run up the stairs. Run into the bathroom, strip down, start holding my breath. I'm like, oh, I done messed up. Then I hear dude come up and run past the bathroom. Not seconds later, the front door bust open. The dogs are barking. The cops are in the house. And they call us downstairs. We come downstairs. I'm the only black guy in the house. Lord be saved.
Probably
They
didn't
grab
help.
my chest and say, "Oh yeah, you're breathing hard. You're coming with us." And they said that I had a black coat on, black pants on, and it was actually my associate. I had a red coat and white pants on. So when they put me in the paddy wagon, I said they asked me what's going on. Where's your friend at? I'm like, man, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But long story short, the high speed chase definitely started. It got me feeling like, I don't, man. So I had multiple hit skips and multiple situations where I was like, I'm not staying. And I got the kahunas to leave or to do this, to crawl beside your bed while you're sleeping, snoring, and I can hear your snore. So I know if you stop snoring, you might wake up. The adrenaline that I was getting from these situations kept propelling me. So even before I ever got caught, I was doing these burglaries. I was breaking in people's cars, breaking in buildings, breaking in churches. And
You did 2 years for that first one?
yeah, but I was put on probation first for that high speed chase and everything.
You got probation for all that.
Yeah, I had yeah, it went deeper than that. Man, listen, like, cause people believed in me. People believed in me. I came from a great village, like I said. And what ended up happening is the day before I was to leave to go take my ASVAC test for the Marines, when I was still 18, I had a going away party, and a gentleman punched me. And I hit my head on the table, and I hit my head on the concrete. And I was knocked unconscious. I don't remember the situation. They said the police came, and then the emergency squad came, and they said that I walked to the emergency squad. They put me in a self-induced coma for 2 days, and when I came to, my mother called my recruiter. My recruiter said I had to wait a year to go to the Marines. My father was in the Army. My best friend was in the Marines, and his father was in the Marines. And I looked up to his dad, like, and I love my dad, but I also love this. This was my god dad, a tall white man that didn't play, but he had a heart of gold. And so I kind of looked up to that Marine a little bit more than my father at times. And so I wanted to be a Marine. So I felt like I'm going to wait that year, and I'm going to go to the Marines. And during that year is when
Got in
all this
trouble.
happened.
that first burglary. That's when everything, like, you know what I mean, transpired. And it set me on a perpetual cycle of the workhouse.
What was that like for you, especially back then?
Yeah, can you smoke back then? In the early 2000s?
Yeah, early 2000s. Yeah, it was very scary. I mean, all I was hearing was stories, and then being light skinned was definitely viewed as a weakness.
How does that work?
Just like
because
being
you're not
white
like
is
you're not
being
real
viewed-
black, right? Like you're.
I mean, listen, I've fucking had my fair share of issues in the goddamn workhouse.
Yes.
And the color of your skin, it does play a role in those
Yes.
settings. So how the fuck lights? What does that have to do with anything? I've never.
Yeah, I've said this before, especially for whites and light-skinned individuals, they feel like we are inferior. Predatory individuals will feel like they're individuals that are more susceptible to being bait.
I never saw. I don't remember like light skinned guys having.
I don't either. And like, what's the
That's
psychology behind?
interesting,
Like,
yeah.
you're not black enough, or like,
Yeah,
what's
what
the
the
deal
fuck?
behind
Especially,
that?
yeah, of course.
It's like
you're not
Is that
black
really
enough.
it?
Oh, most definitely. You can't say the N word.
That's insane, man.
You especially in prison, you more so have feminine men that are light skinned
Yeah.
or white.
Really?
So you're having the
So what, you're like lumped in with that?
most definitely.
Huh.
I mean, we're lumped in when we are in the wrong neighborhoods
Yeah.
or when
Yeah,
we're wearing
right.
certain clothes. You know what I mean? So the stereotypical individual was what I was being told about. When you see in the movies, you see Latinos, Mexicans, light-skinned men that are with their shirts tied up.
Yeah.
All right, so
Huh.
I'm already gaining this knowledge inside the workhouse, and I've been locked up as an adult 15 times. So I had been a runner in the workhouse 3 times. Like, so and I have done
I can see that.
a lot
You're
of
pretty
times.
chill, and yeah,
You
I
know
can
what I
see
mean?
that.
And I could speak, and I
Yeah,
show respect,
right.
and I use
Yeah.
yes sir,
Yes,
yes,
sir,
ma'am
yeah.
to get into them opportunities. And so, when I started, it was like it was a challenge, it was scary, and I started feeding into it.
Yeah, how long did it take you to get used to it and say, yeah, this is
Not
it.
long, and
This is
then
what
it
we're
started
doing.
being reunions. Like when I would go back
Just
in,
seeing your boys from.
yes, you know people from this
It is crazy.
dorm
It's true.
and this
Yeah.
dorm. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, such and such is over there. You got fucking picked up for this.
yep. And then I wasn't backing down. So what I was image inside of my head of what people was expecting was what I was not trying to
Doing
be.
the opposite of that.
Trying to be the total opposite.
Yeah.
So I started going at individuals, and I was more so at times barking louder than
Really?
other individuals.
What's an example of that you can think about when you were in the workhouse where you pressed down on somebody?
Not necessarily press down.
Or you
but,
chose to initiate.
Okay, so individual named Fat Cat. He he's from Windsor Terrace. He was very well known. He was an OG Crip. And
you're a blood, yes?
Right.
Okay.
And he kept getting into it with a gentleman that I kicked it with in the workhouse. We worked out together. We ate. We kicked it. You know what I mean? And so you could tell he was Fat Cat was taller. He was a little bit older, and dude was cool. So Fat Cat's brushing his teeth, talking crap to my homie while he's sitting here, and I'm standing up because I was just cleaning. So I unscrewed the broom.
The old broom.
And I kept talking to him, and as he's talking, I now start interjecting. Man, come on, man, you tripping, man. And now the energy came toward me.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came around with the toothbrush in his mouth, talking reckless, and I pulled it up off the broom. And when he seen it, it changed the whole energy. Now, are you gonna pick up a weapon? Or you gonna? Now this is a guy that's bigger than me.
Yeah.
For real, I'm afraid in the moment. I'm
yeah.
picking up a weapon because I don't know if I can win.
I might need it. Yeah.
Yeah, I might need it. But it changed the whole energy that I was willing.
Yep.
And I didn't even understand it in that moment that they was looking at me for I was willing. And it wasn't even my beef. But it ended up coming out that Fat Cat we ended up working out together. And I told him, I said, my mom raised me that if someone bigger than you pick up something. And so everybody started laughing when they heard that. I'm like, yeah, this is just, but my whole thing was just about protecting myself.
But yeah, so essentially you were ready to go. Yeah. Dude saw that shit and was like,
Most definitely.
And then you guys became fucking
cool.
Yeah,
and
so
you know what I
interesting.
mean? It was
exactly
definitely
how it works, man.
Yes, people be wanting the person that's not going to fight back.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Always.
That's easy.
It's
Yeah.
a predatory environment.
It's so stupid.
You know what I mean? The county jails, the drug rehabs, even in the halfway houses, let alone the prison. But it's the people that feel like they know more than you or they got more than you that want to press down on you. And so I always came in. I didn't have people that was sitting there trying to come bring me money or nothing. So I'm sitting there hustling and stuff, and I'm finding my way inside this environment, and I'm finding like I can do this. Hey, this ain't as hard as I thought. So each time,
once you learn it, you get it.
Now you're like, man, hey, I've been here 44 days. I get that bottom rack right there now. You know what I'm saying? Now I know I'm making my t-shirts so I can go over my eyes so the lights out.
Yep.
So little by little, it started becoming normalcy. You know what I mean? And
fuck, I brought that up Saturday.
Yeah. Yep.
About how you just do it so many times and then jail just becomes normal.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know exactly how to behave and act and what you can and can't do.
Go in there and bid well.
Yep.
So before you got popped for the big one that sent you away for a while, you had learned jail and you get it.
Yes.
I
went to CBCF, and while I was in CBCF in 2001, my father was the intern at Maryhaven. So I'm 19, and that was what they sent me to, and they gave me probation
instead
in CBCF instead of prison.
Yeah.
So they were like, listen, we see you've never gotten in trouble before. You graduated.
Here's an opportunity.
Here's another chance.
Here's a chance.
Yep.
All right. So I do what I need to do to get out of CBCF, and I'm home 31 days, and I started trying ecstasy, and I stole a car.
Damn.
What I do? That's what I do.
That's what he does.
And I stole another car. I ended up stealing 7 cars in Whitehall, parking them beside this.
What the fuck are you
what are you
doing
doing?
with
You just having a
7
car
cars?
for a different day or what?
No. Joyriding.
Just joyriding. That's it.
And these weren't cars that I was just sitting there like, oh yeah, I gotta take.
You're
the
just like,
screwdriver.
fuck it.
No, I get in your car. To
So it's
steal
not
your,
like you're
steal
walking up
your
like there's a
radio
Porsche right
and
there.
Your keys are in there.
So you're like, what the fuck?
What the hell,
I'm
dude?
like, oh,
Might as well.
I never had the
Made it
nuts to
easy.
steal
you know.
cars.
And this was it wasn't about I had to be out there. I told you my wants was never. My needs were never something. It was my wants.
Right.
And it was like I was just becoming good at it.
More
and more. So it what ended up sending me to prison the first time was I had a associate that put me in jail for F1 aggravated burglary, F2 burglary, F2 robbery, F3 robbery on his house. His grandmother actually had done it, had filed the charges. And I went in the house, and I took a T-shirt, a wife beater, a pair of socks, a pair of shoes, a T-shirt, a duffel bag, and 2 pellet guns, and a DVD movie that called The Phone Booth.
Oh, with Colin Farrell?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
I just wanted to see the movie. Now, my associate, he owed me $15. All right. And he told me he wasn't going to pay me the money. So I had the key to the house. We grew up together. I went in the house. I took this. His girlfriend was my girlfriend's sister. So I was going to go back to the house, put the clothes on, come out to the living room and tell him, if you don't want to get my money, you can't get your clothes. That's simple. It never happened. It never got that far because he came home while I was
and then grandma
into the house.
That is so you landed all those charges for $15 fucking
white beater
and some
and a
clothes.
T-shirt and a bag and a shitty movie.
And I spent a year in the workhouse fighting the case.
Man.
And I won.
Okay.
And I copped out to a misdemeanor 1 theft.
Damn.
From F1.
Because I had been allowed in this house since I was 11 years old.
You had a key.
And I had a key. But we didn't even bring that up. I had been allowed in this house, and I didn't. I said a T-shirt, a wife beater, a pair of socks.
Yeah.
I didn't go in the house. I would have stole the DVD player.
Yeah.
Not the DVD. And they knew it. The prosecutor knew it. I told them this when I very first got arrested, but they prolonged it. But a part of the deal was I take the misdemeanor, take those 4 felonies away, but I go to prison for a probation violation for committing the crime.
Okay.
So I did a year in the workhouse, and then I did a year in Noble.
Okay.
So when I got to Noble, I started getting involved with stuff. I'm seeing stuff about myself in that moment that I didn't know before. And I get into IOP, I get into carpentry, and I'm starting to do things. Working out. I get there, I'm 210. I leave a year later, I'm 169.
Damn,
So
bro.
you're staying out of the way. You're not.
Yeah, doing your minding your P's
You're
and
not
Q's.
trying to
I'm
get
minding my
into it.
P's and Q's, but Noble was a kid's prison in 2000, the early 2000s and stuff. And so you're going to have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
You're going, you know what I mean? You're going to be a part of the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're a target.
Right.
Like real talk.
Yeah.
They know. You know what I mean? They know. So I was filling myself out, but I was standing up for myself little by little. And I was somebody that had went from being more passive or passive aggressive, that I didn't want to really get in confrontations with people and stuff like that. I thought friends didn't fight. My mom said that you don't hit someone unless they hit you. See, that it hindered me, because I would let someone hit me before I would react.
Before you go back, yeah.
Well, I feel like now I'm like, no, I'm not. You ain't gonna hit me. I'm gonna hit you
Nah,
first.
that
Now,
changed.
Just don't act like you're gonna hit me.
Right.
So it had me kind of stunted. All right. But when I had that head injury, I ended up getting that. I told you I was in a coma for 2 days. I had a traumatic brain injury, and it seemed like it flipped a switch. I started being more adventurous. I started reacting quicker about situations. I'm more confrontational. I'm more outlandish about things, and I'm emotionally off. And so my mom even had tried to get that evaluated, that may have been one of the reasons why I was starting it out, because I didn't get in trouble until after.
Right.
So as I had that head injury, I didn't really care as much, and I'm standing up for myself. So in Noble, now I'm starting to see them coming up. There's challenges that's coming my way, and I'm not backing down anymore. So even that little lesson was what I needed when I came home and went back 13 months later.
Yeah, so take us to the 16-year run, the 16-year bid.
Yeah, so
you did 16 straight, 17?
No, 17 and a half.
Straight.
No chaser. I when I came home from prison in 2005, I went straight to Columbus State to college.
Okay.
And I was there I was home for 3 months, and ran into my best friend that I went in on the buddy system with.
In jail?
Marines.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and who I didn't, get all the way through, but he went. And while I was in prison, he was in Okinawa, and he called my mom and stuff. And so, but long story short, when I ran into him, he asked me about smoking some weed. And up to that point, everybody had asked, I had said no. And it was like, dang, man, this was somebody that had influence over me more so than I understood.
Yeah.
And at first I told him no. By the time we drove from the south side to the east side, I said,
roll it up.
Car ride.
Roll it up, buddy.
20 minutes later.
Yes, less than 20. And it was that wanting to be back in that moment with this friend. You know what I mean? That comfortability, that relatability, you know what I mean?
It's no different than me and Bruno went to high school together.
Yeah.
If we fucking took some weed right now, went over to Tarpey Woods and tried to recreate that
the
fucking
old
magic
yeah.
that you'll never get back. Doesn't matter how much you try.
Yes, but he didn't understand how much influence he had over me, and I didn't understand it. And so that same week that I started smoking with him, I stole a car from Columbus State. And my key.
Help me.
All right.
Just help me understand. You've done all this time. You just got out of prison. You had these opportunities. And again, I say that because I can relate to it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to steal a car.
Okay, so my car, I had bought a car.
And this is the one that gets you hemmed up for good, right?
No, that was the beginning. That was the first case. I ended up committing 3 crimes before I did the burglaries. And so I was out on 3 bonds before I went for the Circleville case.
Okay.
Damn.
That was the first one. Then I got in trouble for driving the work truck. I was working for a moving company with no license in Erie County. I told my boss I had my license, lying. I ended up getting pulled over. So then I bond out of that. And then I'm going to go to Washington courthouse some months later. And I took the money that my mother, my aunt, and my uncle gave me at my grandfather's funeral and bought some crack, bought some coke, bought some ecstasy, bought some weed.
For personal use or to flip?
To flip and for personal.
And for personal.
The weed
Well,
and the
right, yeah.
ecstasy.
I guess that's...
And I ended up going to Washington courthouse. And the very first house we go to is a confidential informant.
Oh, my God.
And so
What are the odds of that?
Yeah, and I had my girlfriend in the back seat. She was asleep. She ain't know nothing. She was just along for the ride. And I get it hemmed up, and it's 2 guns in the trunk, night vision goggles.
Damn, bud.
So
What?
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, I thought somebody was gonna try to rob me in Washington courthouse, so I hid the stuff in a bag and put it in the trunk. And the guy driving the car, my guy, ended up getting hemmed up for it. And so we both go to jail. My girlfriend is from Circleville, so her family comes and gets her. 2 weeks, less than a couple weeks later, I'm broke. We have my girlfriend and myself. We live in Reynoldsburg. We got our third eviction notice on the door. I don't know how to manage money. I'm having raves at my apartment. I want everybody to kick it. I told y'all when I was in the youth.
Right.
I was always
Yeah,
wanting
you
everybody.
wanted that.
If I'm getting
Yeah,
it, we get
yeah.
it. And I wasn't doing adult things. So I got a 19-year-old girlfriend that I brought all the way to Columbus from Circleville, away from her family. And I'm wanting her family to believe that I'm an adult.
Yeah.
I'm 24, and I'm here for your daughter. But I'm not. I'm there for myself, and she's the byproduct of what makes me
I call
happy.
that taking a hostage.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And so on August 23rd, she had to go to the orthodontist. And we rode down to Circleville, and I dropped her off, and we had got into an argument, and I seen some houses as we were riding to Circleville. And I said, man,
Those look
right.
good.
Yeah, you're
Bet
right.
they-
Yep. So I dropped her off and drove back, knocked on the door, and I was working for Kirby Vacuum Cleaner. That week I started working for Kirby. And so I knew a spill. I knock on your door,
Right.
say my spill.
Elevator
You know what I mean?
pitch.
Yes.
Case the joint out while you're spilling.
And if you're not there, I'll
I'm
just
going in.
Going in.
So that's what I did. I knocked on the door. No one came, so I went in through the back door.
What are you doing? Kicking the door down? How do you get in?
Yeah, I kicked the
Kicked it
back
down?
door down. And because it was secluded, I made sure, you know what I mean?
Perfect-
I'm looking
perfect
for
lick.
perfect areas, you know what I mean? With tree lining and so on and so forth. But this is Circleville, so it's country.
Yeah.
So I go into the house, unload the house as much as I can, but always thinking that I got to get her back in the car
Yeah.
and not let her know that I got this stuff. So I only take so much stuff. And part of that was 7 guns.
Damn.
And,
But
Come up.
yeah, that's a
God damn, you picked the right house.
yeah. You know how to pick them.
and I knew, yes, because I have been doing this. And a lot of them country homes don't be having alarms.
They love guns.
And they hunt.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not me. But so I had that blueprint inside of my head, and that's what I did. And then I went and picked her up, and when we got back to the house, and I put 6 more guns with them and took them down to the south side of Columbus and tried to sell them.
So 13 guns in all. That's a lot of guns, brother.
Yeah, I wanted to take care of my debts.
Mm-hmm.
So you're literally just doing anything you can at this point to make money. I mean, stealing cars, breaking into houses, selling guns, selling drugs. You've done it all.
Yeah, it's kind of like that progression. Like,
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You start here, just a puff here, and then all of a sudden buying an ounce of weed. That the addictive personality is definitely real. That we definitely, I think, take it for granted that we will go get what we want when we want it, but then we'll let something else go if we really need it, if I don't really want to go do it. So I just, when I did that, the very next day, and see, look, everything's in her name. At this time, I had never had nothing in my name but cell phones and pagers. So the eviction notice is hers, a 19-year-old girl. I'm thinking, I got to pay this stuff off, at least get this off her name.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how to get it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to go sell drugs. I'm going to do something. I just got out of jail. I'm on my third bond. I'm going to get it. That was August 23rd. August 24th, I went back out to Circleville. I left my girlfriend sleep in the bed. She think I'm going to work at Kirby Vacuum spot. And I drive out there, and the first house I hit is a correction officer's home.
Oh.
And I knock on the door. No one comes. I go through into the back and go into the home with gloves on. I pull out the air conditioner and pull myself in, pull the air conditioner back in. When I'm in the house is when I see that it's a correction officer's his uniform.
Oh,
and,
shit.
God,
cuffs and gun. And then I go into, I think it's his kid's room, and there's a safe in there. So I take the safe and go into the garage. And there's not really a whole lot of stuff. And so there's a freezer, deep freezer in the garage. So I'll take the frozen food. Cause it's not like I'm not stealing just cause it's cool. I'm stealing cause I also need this.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I go ahead and I leave there. Now I'm driving back toward Columbus, and I see another house, but it's not like a country type of home. Like, it's a nice big home. Look like it might have AI intelligence.
All that shit.
Well, not back then, but you know what I'm saying? It was nice. You know what I mean? And it got a long driveway with a fountain in the middle and a 3-car garage. So I go up and knock on the door. No one comes. I go to the back, kick in the garage door, and it's connected to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Now no alarm goes off. So I'm like, oh, okay, shoot. So I'm looking in the garage, not really much that is appealing to me. The door is 3 steps up. So I step back, run, kick the door in. Boom. I hear doo-doo. Now I'm waiting to see if there's an alarm going to go off. I knew my mama's alarm back in the day, ADT, took 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And if the mice, I used to say the mice can evade it. Maybe if I get low enough, I can evade it. So I used to run games on my mom's alarm when she would be gone.
Practice.
I promise. I don't know what the heck, bro. I was training from a young age.
Training to break into houses.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear nothing. So I'm thinking there's no alarm. So I go in the house, and I come back out, go pull my car up into the garage, shut the garage door, and start
loading up the
putting
car.
stuff into my car. And I'm there for like a half an hour or so, and the phone's been ringing, but my adrenaline's pumping. Like someone's just calling.
Yeah.
Not the cops. I'm not thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was. And I never answered it, but now I know it was. So I come out, something told me to come out, and I come into the garage, and there's a cop with a K9.
Damn.
Right in the
at
garage.
the door. He's at the door.
On the other side.
So he says, come out with your hands up.
Oh, man.
I look, I shut the door. It's the window panes and broken windows where I went into the house. So he's looking at me like, you dumb fool, come out the house. I said, hold on 1 minute. I turn and look, and there's a garage door opener on the thing. I hit the door. I run to the car, shut the trunk, jump in, shut my door. My window's down.
Oh.
I start my car. The garage is coming up, but it's coming up slow. The cop kicks in the door, a different cop, puts the gun 2 feet away from me or so. Stop, turn the car off. Put your hands up. Man, I'm like this. I'm in dress slacks because I'm Kirby
right,
Mackin
salesman,
pants. Snakeskin shoes. He says, turn the car off. I'm like this. Me rolling my window up because I'm scared the dog gonna jump in. The car, the garage didn't come up quick enough, so I put it in gear and took off and
Just
busted
through the
out
garage
half the
door.
garage.
God.
And there was a cop car that was right beside the second garage. If he went, his car was taking up the 1 and 2, but it wasn't taking up 3.
Right.
So luckily I got out. And I got down to the end of the driveway, got a traction, and got about a mile down the street, hit a telephone pole.
Damn.
Jumped out, took off running. They said they caught me 4 miles later. I had jumped into a creek. And it was August 24th, 2006, so it was extremely hot. When they caught up with me, I was cooled down. A wildlife officer had jumped in their pursuit, and he was the one that put the Mossberg on me and initially arrested me. Because the car I was driving was my girlfriend's, they ran the tags. Well, the tags go to her and her address at her mother's house, her parents' house in Circleville.
Yeah.
So they go to Circleville and pull their family out at gunpoint.
Oh, man.
2 teenagers and 2 adults. Italian family, never been in trouble in their life. And now I done
wrecked a whole bunch of,
You know what I mean? And that was the day I got arrested. Kind of going back to what I had told y'all, I said I won my case after I was in that workhouse for a year. So in my head,
do it again.
I can
Do it again.
Yeah, right.
I get out of
I can
this.
do it again.
Yeah,
I studied the law to win
God.
the case and everything. I can do this again. Well, that was not the case.
So did you represent yourself?
No.
Okay.
No. I just, only thing I really knew was that it was daytime. It was 12 o'clock in the afternoon. No one was home. So that was my whole energy, was that a felony 1, aggravated burglary, is with someone in the house at night with a weapon.
Right.
A felony 2, okay, at least someone's in the house. That's how I was looking. I said, even if you don't have a weapon, at least someone was in the house. So now it's a felony 2. So I said,
the argument is it's not aggravated.
That's what, you know what I mean? That's how I felt. And that was really, I said, it's not that I'm saying that I'm not guilty of burglarizing houses. I'm saying I'm not guilty of that caliber.
The technicality.
Yes, because that's years.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a disparity, a difference. So
take us to sentencing.
Yes, when I went to trial.
Okay.
I went to trial.
Fuck.
Good
and
for
I was
you,
only in
brother.
jail for 85 days, and they had a speedy trial.
Yeah.
Circleville definitely doesn't play. And I had a 2-day trial, and when they were testifying against me, I said before, the correctional officer, he got up and he testified against me, and I was so angry at him. You know, I'm like, it's just crazy to know myself today, to think about the kid I was yesterday. It was like, I'm mad at this man, and I was in his house. So then the lady gets up from the other house, because once again, I told you, my bad. I left this out because you said the sentencing. I just need to add this in. When they ran the plates, they also went to our apartment in Reynoldsburg, and they found the guns.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
They found all the property.
All of them.
And so they couldn't charge me with the burglary on August 23rd in Circleville area, but
the guns.
They charged me with the property for it, and they made sure they knew. And when he sentenced me, you feel me, he gave me everything, all 3 burglaries,
all the charges.
Oh, buddy.
So, but when the lady, Miss Petty, got up and spoke, I don't know if that's good to say her name, but she said that she didn't want her house anymore. That me rummaging through her drawers made her not want that stuff anymore, and that she didn't feel secure. and she hit a chord because it was really one of the first times out of all the times I had really been doing bull that I was seeing how I was affecting people.
Like the empathy
really.
part of it.
Right, you feel me? I finally got to see it going to trial. I got to see how a victim was being
how it affected
people. Yes. So she planted a seed in me that day, and I didn't realize it. But after the trial was over, and they found me guilty of 2 F2 burglaries, 2 felony 5 thefts for the property, a felony 4 safe cracking, a felony 4 fleeing and looting, and a receiving stolen the property for a credit card that was in my pocket from the burglary the day before. 7 charges plus this is my second prison number. So I had PRC. So I was out on parole, and now they violated me for the PRC. And so he made my sentence 18 and a half years for the crimes because he gave me maximum consecutive sentences. And then he gave me a 20-month PRC violation.
Jesus.
So it came up to be 20 years, 2 months.
Damn.
The correction officer whose home I burglarized worked at CRC.
Oh, buddy.
So now,
buddy,
I'm about to leave the county jail
to go
for CRC.
face down
CRC.
the fucking.
And this is Pickaway County. Everything is there. Everybody knows each other.
Oh my God.
So all the cops, everybody knows when. You know what I mean? It was.
Yeah, he's telling his buddies.
He's telling.
Yeah,
Yes.
got one coming.
So when I get to CRC, December 4th.
And you're ready. You're sentenced to 20 fucking years.
You're ready for 20.
I'm 25 years old at this time.
Oh my.
I don't know what 20 years looks like.
How long did it take for the shock to wear off, for that to really set in? Because I have to imagine if I was sentenced to 20 years, it would take me maybe months to accept
if I would
that,
process that ever.
Yeah.
20 years a lifetime.
Yeah, I don't really know a specific time. We're not gonna just say like, yeah, I was like, yeah, this is
happening.
I understand it now. You know what I mean? I just know that by nature we have improvise, adapt, overcome. Like by nature, the ones that don't are the ones that decide that I don't want to do this anymore, and they take their life, or I mean, tragedy happens. But other than that, we're going to get through it. You know what I mean? So,
you're going to CRC.
I go to CRC, and as soon as I get off the bus, they take you in, you strip you and everything, and then they have you go up to the desk with socks on, underwear. So when I get up to the desk, and I say my name, the CO says, "Hey, this the one that got Rutherford." I'm
dude.
like, nah, I was, I said, nah, that wasn't me. You know what I mean?
Different
I ain't do it, you know what I mean? So he like, no, you going down there to the last holding room. So immediately, like,
they're waiting for your ass.
Yes, I'm thinking this is how I'm feeling. Like, I'm scared. I'm like, wow. So I go down there, and no one's in there, but I'm looking out the whole time, like thinking they're about to come.
It's coming.
So they end up coming up with a decision. They're going to give me emergency ride out, but they're putting me in PC.
Okay.
So they put me in
which
PC.
is protective custody for people who don't know.
For sure. And as I walk my bag and everything into PC, first, I only see one inmate outside of their cell. All the rest of the COs, no one's really out in this block. You can't really mingle with population, so on and so forth. And at this time, everyone's locked down. The only individual that's out is Maurice Claret.
Oh, he's doing time there at the same time.
He just got all his time. So he walks up to me. I'm holding my bag. He's like, "Man, what's up, man?" And I'm just looking at this phenom.
Like,
holy fuck.
I idolized you.
Yeah. I watched you win the national championship, bro.
Like, I'm just looking at this man. He's standing on his tippy toes, and he's stocky, and he has a radiant smile. And he's like, "Man, what's up, man? What you in here for?" I'm like, "I robbed a correction officer." Oh,
and you're
man.
telling Maurice Claret this.
Yes, man.
That's so crazy.
And they ended up taking me to my cell and stuff. And I remember Maurice talking to LeBron James on the phone, and he's holding the phone. He was like, "Hey, LeBron on the phone." Like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Hey, can you pay my bond?" Like, but it was just that energy immediately, like, coming in. It was something that I needed personally.
Yeah.
You guys got close.
I mean, I was only there for 5 days.
Okay.
So not necessarily close, but he gave me his prison number. And the day that I left, because I find out 2 days later, you're going to SOCF.
What is that?
Lucasville.
Oh, Luke. Jeez, bud.
Maximum security.
Yeah, Luke's the big time.
I told you my first prison number, I was at Noble. A kids camp. Now they're telling me I'm going to SOCF.
The
and
grown
I said
folks.
the same thing. Where is that? Lucasville. So the day I leave to go to Lucasville, Maurice Claret leaves to go to Toledo. And we get on our buses and say our farewells or whatever, whatnot. On that ride there, I remember there was an old school cat on there, and he said, we asked him about Luke. And he said, you either play a boy or be a boy.
Mm.
And in those terms, he's saying you either play a feminine man or be a feminine man. And we're all young. We start laughing at him like, man, what you talking about,
right.
man? Hey, man. But it taught me something right then. For one, it taught me him, what his energy is. And then it also told me just a little bit of what I might be in store for, what's about to be coming, and what I know about prison, what I've heard about prison, so on and so forth. So I'm very afraid. Then I'm here for burglarizing a correctional officer's house, so I'm even more afraid. So when I get to Luke, that's my parent institution. So they put me in the hole for a month. And I'm there, and it's cell banging, what they would call individuals calling out to one another. First thing they do to you, hey, what's up, man? Where you from? I'm from Columbus. Me too. What side of town? South side. What? Man, I grew up out there, man. What part? What street you from? Woodrow. What? Man, I used to mess with a chick out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Who you kin to? My sister, Lanice, my mom, Darlene.
Oh, no.
My dad, Brian. Oh, for real? Man, I think I used to fuck your sister. Man, I think your dad sucked my dick. What the? Hold on, man.
What?
Where did this just... And they get you out there. They don't know who you are, but that's the bit. You just became the bit because you wanted to be a part of something that you ain't need to be a part of at all, and it got you out there. And many people have lost their lives or got hurt real bad over cell banging. Probably everywhere, but especially at Lucasville. But for 30 days, I'm hearing all day, all night, yelling, screaming, doo-doo throwing, pee throwing. People just living like the environment that was called for. And after 30 days, they put me in the gang unit. And the 5th day I was there in the gang unit, the CO come up to my
You're
cell.
still affiliated at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the CO come up to my cell and say, am I here for robbery? I'm like, yeah, I'm here for burglary. But I'm like, yeah. He's like, you here for robbing a correctional officer from Pickaway County? I'm like,
damn.
No, I'm sitting on my bed like, no, who would do that? No, but I'm like, nah. Why you say that? He said, oh, my friend said the guy that had robbed him was on his way down here. I just wanted to know if it was you. I'm like, nah, that wasn't me. But if it was me, what would happen? He's like, well, we had to mark your name down in the book, so if anything happened, we wouldn't get in trouble. I'm like, nah, man, that ain't me. He's like, oh, okay, I just wanted to know because you don't really talk much. I'm like, I don't got much to say. As soon as he left, I immediately got paper and pen out and wrote Columbus. At central office, which runs all the prisons. I wasn't sure what to do. I was immediately scared. I'm like, man, I haven't been here.
Yeah, they're going to do something.
They're going to hurt me.
stories about like guards,
Yeah.
because guards don't give a fuck, and they have
Yes.
no consequences. They can say whatever they want to say. You're the bad guy. You're the liar automatically. So it's like, yeah,
Yes. So I immediately wrote Columbus and said his name in there and said that I'm afraid for my life. I'm not sure what, you know what I mean, blah, blah, blah. I sent the letter out. 2 days later, we go to rec. A big, tall, dark-skinned black dude takes a pen through the metal detector as we're going into rec and try to stab a porter, another inmate that's working out in the hallway. The cops rush the guy, put him up against the wall, punching him, boom, 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 boom. The inmate runs over, punching him, boom, 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 boom. And the COs are letting this happen. They get the man cuffed up, get him on his knees, and the CO grabs his head and smashes his face. Boom, blood goes everywhere. All I'm thinking is, I burglarized a correctional officer's house. What they gonna do to me?
Yep.
I swear this is 2 days after this happened. So I don't know how to really react. I'm just existing. I ended up being at Lucasville for a total of like 16 months. When I went up for my review, they denied me
to be lower class.
to get lowered.
Yeah.
Now, what I had, the very first job I got at Lucasville was in the law library. And I didn't know much about the law, but I knew I wanted to get home. And that was the only thing I had prayed about. I'm like, I had denounced the time when I was in the county jail, crying in my cell, not sure what life was about to bring. But I just knew I wanted to get home. At that, I knew that was one of my thoughts. Another thought is, I don't want to do all this time. Maybe I'm not going to live. Maybe I'm going to take my life. So as I'm in the on the L side of Lucasville, I'm working in the law library, and I'm starting to ask questions. I'm starting to get involved with individuals from other dorms that are coming in. They're working on their cases, so on and so forth. So I end up starting to fight my own case. I had an attorney for the first portion of the appeal, but I was working on my own. And I was literate. I just didn't know that I was capable of comprehending as much as I started to comprehend and learning things about myself as I challenged myself. I was there, and they denied me. I appealed it to Columbus. Columbus agreed with me. I shouldn't be at Lucasville. That CO never messed with me again. I seen him multiple times. He never said nothing else to me.
Wow.
They didn't touch me. But they definitely let it be known that I could be touched.
Right.
So they dropped my security, and they sent me to Lebanon. Now, when they told me, the case manager told me, I refused to sign the paper. And I ended up writing a letter to Columbus and saying, hey, the CO that I burglarized his house has family at Lebanon. Now, the only thing I know is what people are telling me about Lebanon.
Yeah.
I don't know it for sure. I just know that they're telling me this is Lucasville on steroids because everybody's outside of their cell. I'm like, what the? I done seen stabbings, beatings, all kind of stuff at Lucasville during that 16-month stay. So now I know, I'm like, man, this is going to be crazy. So I write that letter. It doesn't, the bus comes, they say I got to get on, or they're going to put me in the hole at Luke. I'm like, nope, time to go. So I get on the bus. I'm like, it didn't work, try. I get to Lebanon. As soon as we get off the bus and get us dressed and stuff, they say, who's Dion Evans? I said, me. They said, cuff up. Took me in the captain's office. They said, Columbus said to put you in the hole, that you in fear of your life.
Damn.
So I go, they put me into a hole right by commissary. That hole is so clean. All I got told was there's roaches and rats and everything else at Lebanon. But the holding cell that I was in was clean. I thought that all that was going to be clean. Nah. They asked me, I said, what do I need to do to get out of this? I didn't ask to come to this whole blase ski boom boom. They said, sign this paper saying your life's not in jeopardy. I said, all right. I signed it. They ended up letting me out days later. They put me into the first dorm. I go in. The guy tells me where's my locker. That's my locker. I open it up. It's filled with roaches. I take it down, rinse it out and stuff, and I begin my stay at Lebanon. That very same week, a guy jumped off the second range with a sheet on his neck.
Damn.
I look out, and because I heard the commotion with the COs running, and the guy jumped off.
What, did he tie the sheet to the bars?
And then around his neck?
Put it around his neck and jumped off the second range.
Golly.
Lebanon is 3 tiers.
Yeah.
So my inception into Lebanon was definitely graphic immediately. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, what the? But it wasn't the last thing. So I end up, I'm from Columbus. So, Lebanon at that time was like $5 a phone call. You know what I mean? It was expensive. It was far away. I wanted to get closer to home. So after 6 months, I put in a hardship to go to Ross. I was approved to leave for 45 days, and I ended up going to the hole for out of place. And being on the second range when I was supposed to be on the first range. I go to the hole, and when I come out, they took my my transfer and said I had to do 6 more months. And
At Lebanon?
At Lebanon. And then put in another transfer. During that 6 months is when it got real. I had moved down to the non-smoking block, and wanting still, as my upbringing has been about wanting to be liked, people pleaser, wanting to fit in, just never seeming to ever really do that. But I got asked to hold the pack for a gentleman. He went to his visit. The first time, went off without a hitch. Second time, he gave me $150 worth of weed, and he went to his visit. I went to chow, and it fell out my pant leg.
Ooh, buddy. Ooh.
So now I come back.
Just on the ground?
Yes, fell down. Yes, and I didn't know it, and we end up finding out later. But when I get back to the cell and stuff, I get to checking my stuff. It's not there, and now I'm panicking. Like, man, I gotta tell this guy. Now he been down over 25.
So,
stocky black dude.
Yeah,
I'm like,
bad.
oh man, like I'm thinking he in for murder. I'm like, man, it's going, but I'm not going to duck. So I'm like, I'm in a messed up situation. When he comes back, I end up pulling up on him and telling him, man, I lost it. I'm like, look, I'm going to take care of the debt, but I need a little bit of time, but I lost it. He's like, no, you didn't, bro. You stole it. You smoked it. You did something to it. Da, da, da. I'm like, no, I really didn't. So he goes into his cell, going to my cell, which is next door to one another, and he comes to my door. He calls me out. He's like, come into my cell. Now I'm thinking we about to fight.
About to
you
go
know
down.
what I mean? So I'm like, I'm not going to run from it. I'm scared, but I'm not going to run from it. So I walk into the cell, go to the back portion. Him and 2 other people walk in the room. Shut the door, but they don't close it completely because it locks. And you need the CO to unlock it from the desk. Or from your door. All 3 pull out knives. He say, I know you got my stuff. Strip. So I stripped naked in the cell with the 3 men. He say we should rape and kill him. One of the other dudes is 2 blacks and 1 white. The white dude say, nah, bro, you tripping. We ain't about to do none of that. I'm looking around the whole time. I see he got a green Zenith TV, a Super 3 radio, pillow. I'm like looking for everything that I'm going to use. I don't know what's going to happen,
Right.
but I'm going
for something.
Die fighting.
Yeah.
I'm going to die fighting. He turned, the dude that initiated everything that I held the pack for, opened up the door. He like, go and get out of here. He had my shorts in his hand. I grabbed my shorts, and I could have put my shorts on right then. I just wanted to get out of that situation. I've been in shootings. I've been in so many fights, but I had never been in a situation like that. Knives is something different.
It's intimate.
It's intimate. And so I walked out onto the range. And like I said, my door's next door. It's about 5-6 feet. And I sat there and was like, I started taking steps, and it was the longest 5 or 6 steps of my life. And I heard dude say, hey, look up here. Everybody in the day room look up at me naked on the range. So I go into my cell, and my bunk in there like, what's going on? They call me Lucky. Lucky, what's going on? I'm just start putting on my shorts. I'm embarrassed. I'm scared.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much stuff that's just happened in that room. And even though they didn't touch me physically, they scarred me psychologically, mentally. And so that traumatic event, it changed the course of my life that day. I just didn't realize how much. Excuse me. But I go into my cell and stuff, and everybody disperses. A dude that was a blood, excuse me, from L.A., he walked across the range. We locked eyes. He seen me in the cell with these 3 men. We locked eyes, and he kept going. So when all of it was said and done, they called Chow about 10 minutes later. We walk to Chow. I go sit at a table. That dude goes and gets other bloods. They come over, they say, hey, man, what they saying to you is just stripped naked on the range? What? I'm like, man, yeah, man. And I couldn't explain, like, bruh, I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was totally scared. But they didn't come out and say, all right, here's some knives. We about to go get them. We with you. Nah. You're in violation. You need to come to the gym after this.
Shit, bud.
I'm like, bro, I just got victimized in this room, and you now telling me I got to go.
What, because you didn't handle it properly? Basically?
Yeah, it's like not up to blood code or whatever.
Yes, I'm in violation. So I go back to the block. When we get back to the block, it comes over the walkie-talkie. A white shirt found the pack in front of the dorm. And everybody's just looking at dude like, I'm like, bro, I told you, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's proof,
you, man.
Yeah.
But now you done took this to a whole nother level. So, and now I just got to go down here to the gym. So when I go down to the gym, we meet at the middle of the court. They say, all right, you got to fight two individuals, 2 minutes. You can choose one. I said, that one that walked across the range in L.A.
Right.
Long braids, dark-skinned dude. I said, he got to be one of them. They like, all right. So him and the other dude go climb up onto the stage. I walk around up the stairs, go to the back portion, and there's a wall that they hand out the equipment. And the COs can't see around that wall. They had to get up and walk around. So when I go around by the wall, take my shirt off, and I go at them. Now, I don't remember all the punches or whatever was thrown, but when it was over, those 2 guys was leaking, and I had some red marks, but I wasn't leaking. So when I walk back off of the stage, there's people that's clapping.
Oh, you getting the standing applause.
Right.
Standing up.
They walk me, I get my shirt and stuff, and then I walk down the stairs, and the Bloods walk me out. outside and they smoke a joint with me. But once again, they're not telling me, now we're about to go get these guys.
Yeah.
Now you showed us something, now let us show you something. So I ended up going back to the block and began to live in fear every day. I was already in fear, but now every day I got to worry about, is somebody about to try me?
Mm-hmm.
And even he lived next door, so when he would come out, he's apprehensive, thinking that
You're
about
gonna
to
get it
crash.
back.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't understand why I ain't checked in. They don't know what's going on inside of my head. And I can remember one of the first books that was given to me at Lucasville was the 48 Laws of Power.
I knew it.
And it said in there to always keep people off tilt. Never let them know what you're doing.
Your next move.
Or your next move. And so what I did was take a crock pot that they sold on commissary and put water with soupy ramen noodle soups crushed up, and I kept it on constantly. As long as that door was unlocked, it was plugged up. And so I could at least throw that on, at least burn you enough that I could get at you. And so I ended up applying for the honor dorm, and I was still in that block for about 2 months, and little by little I began to pay him the money off of that $150 debt, because like I said, I lost it. I took ownership of it. It was mine. Even though it was a messed up situation.
Yeah, technically you still have the debt. You lost it.
I still have it, and it can get escalated even more. But I'm feeling the energy of everybody that knows about what just happened. You know what I mean? So every day it was situations, and I can remember I had a white bunkie, and I say it's about a month later, 2 guys came up to me and said they wanted to rob my bunkie. And I'm like, nah. They like, well, we just telling you.
Yeah,
it's
going to happen.
We're asking you.
Right. We're letting you know.
We're letting you know.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And so I told my bunk, I went back in this cell and I told him, I said, bro, they plotting on you. Let's get, they about to come. He didn't believe it. And a couple hours later, they blew in the cell. And I'm walking up and I'm still afraid. And I really wanted to be there for him. He ended up giving up his commissary and stuff without getting punched on. But they didn't touch my stuff. And it was crazy because I'm still feeling like I'm a target. Like, y'all, everybody see me naked. But it put something inside of me that day that I never wanted to put myself in that position again. All right, so I signed up for the honor dorm. I wasn't there long. My 6 month came up. I filled out to transfer again. Last time I waited 45 days. This time they had approved me in 13 days.
Damn.
And they got me to Ross. I get to Ross in 2009. Now, up to this point, I've been trying to get into programming. And I sat there and at Lucasville, I got into one program. Lebanon, I got into like 2, but I'm staying in the law library. Even when I had a job, I was still going there to learn and fighting my case. I then put in my appeal. I put in my 26B, and now I'm waiting on an answer. I get to Ross. I'm there for a period of time. Then I start seeing people that was in that same block with me that knew about that situation.
From Lebanon.
From Leb. So now it gets spread to the Bloods. Boom, I was naked and da-da-da. So now situations seem to be coming up where I'm getting tested and tried. But every time I was standing up. And no matter how afraid I was more afraid of what happens if I don't stand up. So I'm there about a year, and I signed up for the honor dorm. And nothing has happened to me per se because of that, but you can still always feel the tension around people looking at me funny, like I'm soft and stuff. And I go to the honor dorm, and the 2 yard dogs come to the block.
What is a yard dog?
A yard dog is the COs that watch. They ride bicycles or vehicles outside in the yard. When we go to rec, they have a shack that they're always at, always patrolling us.
Okay.
So they come to the unit. My 2 regulars are on first shift, and we're playing. Me and 3 other gentlemen are playing Monopoly at the table. They call. They say Dion Evans. So I come over to the desk. They like, you Dion Evans? I'm like, yes, sir. They like, you know Jason Rutherford?
Oh boy, back again.
Unbelievable.
Back again.
I'm like, yes, sir. I said, that's what I'm in prison for. He said, well, he wanted to give you a message. Next time you rob his house, make sure he's home. Things could have turned out differently. I said, yeah, you're right. Things could have turned out differently. I said, since you're relaying messages, can you tell him that I'm sorry? I was a young, dumb kid, messed up on drugs. He said, all right, but you could feel his energy. He was so angry now to know who I was.
Yeah.
Like the other CO, he was cool. He's like, dang, man, I know him, man. I can't believe you ain't never gave us no problems, man. I went to school with dude. And I'm like, man, it was just a messed up situation. So I go back to the table. I tell the guys at the table, man, the police just said this to me and da-da-da. So one of the guys like, man, I told him suck my dick. You can't say that to me. And I know they can't. Second shift come on. That CO that was kind of cool, said he went to school with him. He worked our block on the double. I had never seen him work a block before. So now I'm really thinking it's about to go down.
Down, yeah.
So I go up to the desk. I'm like, hey, excuse me, sir, can I speak to you? He's like, yeah, what's up? I said, I just got off the phone with my family, and I let them know what y'all said to me. I said, I put it on my mom records.
So it's recorded, yep.
And this on record.
Calls are recorded, smart.
I said, listen, what I'm not about to do is put paperwork in on you. But I said, I don't want to start getting harassed, and I don't want y'all to start coming, shaking my cell down, harassing my bunkie who been down over 18, and then because of me, my decisions. And he like, nah, man, ain't nothing. Nothing gonna happen to you. We just was wondering, like, what the heck happened? How did this? And I expressed it again. And I just told him, I said, please tell him I'm truly sorry. Now, this is only 3 years into the bit for the most part. You know what I mean? So I'm still learning self. I'm still salty that I got caught. More so than caring about.
Oh yeah.
So I'm at Ross. I end up getting my security lowered. They said it was something abnormal for a person to go from Lucasville from a level 4 to a level 2 within 4.5 years. But I'm applying myself. And in 2009, I started going to AA, NA meetings, and I was going to church, and I got a part of Kairos. And
Kairos, I remember
Kairos and recovery.
And cookies, though.
They definitely helped propel me on a different path. All right. And I started seeing people inside of those environments that was in other classes and stuff. And now I'm starting to be around the individuals who are about something in the joint.
That want to change.
That want to change. You know what I mean? And so they end up raising the level of the joint at Ross. And so they rolled all of us out, all the level 2s out. They turned Ross back into a whole level 3. And I go to Marion Correctional Institution in 2012. And that was truly the greatest decision of my life. At that time, I only had 8 certificates for programming because of how much time I had. When you have a lot of time, they don't put you in programming until your last 5 years. So I got a 20-year sentence. So when I get to Marion, it's a whole different world. There's a warden named Jason Budding. They have more programs than any other prison that I had known of at this time. And I just got involved. And I met some amazing people that was there. And they showed me a different way of living life in prison. And the greatest thing I think that they showed me was how to become free mentally before I ever became free physically. I started to read books a lot, and the people that was around me throughout my whole bit that seen something in me would give me the grapes. Whether they sat me down and told me, hey, bro, you tripping, man. You know, you just got into it with such and such, and you know who he's. No matter what, people was pouring into me. Every prison I was going to. At this point now, I had went from Lucasville to Lebanon to Ross to now Marion.
So once you got to Marion, that's when you kind of turned a corner.
Yes, because the opportunity was there. In the other prisons, those are holding cells for real. You know what I mean? Violence, gangs.
Right.
Now it's a place where people are thinking they are having a paradigm shift. And so I got entrenched in it. And
did you finish your bit at Marion?
No. I was only there till 2017. I ended up becoming a part of 3 I gained almost 250 certificates, 6 certifications, 4 licenses.
Christ.
And majority of them I
shit.
gained there.
That's what I remember. Did you say you went to college?
Yeah,
in prison too?
I have 4 classes away from my associates
That's
in
right.
business.
Nice.
I ended up getting my paralegal license while I was in prison, and I got my minister license, my forklift license.
Wow.
And my tutor certification. I was one of the inmates when you came to Marion. You would go through orientation, and I had gained a blessing, favor throughout my bit. But throughout my whole bit, I did amazing, great things with great people. But I also was still on the other side of the fence as well. Still trying to figure out how to navigate prison and not be raped, not be extorted, not be harmed, not leave with extra holes, and leave alive. And there were certain things I left out, even about me wanting to take my life when I first got down and saving up 73 of my blood pressure pills. And the day that I went to take them, a Muslim minister came and seen me that my aunt had sent to, my aunt was friends with, my Aunt Isabel. And his conversation with me, after that, I went back to my cell and flushed the pills down the toilet. I had finally felt like I had some help, some people, some love. Now, fast forward at Marion, now I'm seeing that in the inmates. I'm seeing that in staff members. I grew up thinking it was us against them, authority against the unauthority. And I'm sitting there telling myself that this is the way it's supposed to be. This dichotomy, a CO against inmate. Well, I met individuals that said, no, these staff members are law-abiding citizens.
It's so interesting. We've heard it so many times. We've talked to so many people. That mindset of, like you said, us versus them. And then once you turn that corner and realize, like, oh, they're just fucking regular
Human
people
beings,
that
yes.
are working and trying to support their
Provide
family.
their families.
And some of them even want to help you.
Most definitely. And it came to a point where there was more staff members that was willing to help me than it was even inmates.
Oh,
because,
100%.
You know, because at times, like, the inmates would come to a point where they get up in statue or they're viewed in a certain way, and they don't want to lose that. They don't want people that are more intelligent or more
taking their spot. Yeah,
they don't want to lose their spot. So they will hinder you if they see you have talents and attributes and qualities that they don't.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had came through, and now I'm saying, I'm now speaking to staff members, but I'm here for robbing one of you. Now, I don't want y'all to know this, though. So, you know, I'm trying to keep up this facade of, hey, listen, the more I was involved, the more I learned about self, and the more I was willing to push myself. And so I became a part of mentorships. I ended up learning some Arabic, Swahili, Spanish, sign language. I was in a choir that we did sign language while Christian
You took
songs
advantage
were
of your
playing.
time.
Yeah.
Every second.
You got nothing fucking better to do.
Every
Might
second.
as well try and improve yourself.
Yes, and I had said this. I said, I remember hearing that quote, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book.
Oh, that's right. You said that. You said that at the thing.
Man.
That's right.
And I took that as a
Holy
challenge.
fuck.
You know what I mean? Because it was like, so I read over 2,000 books. I wrote a book called PTSD on Convicts. I got 10 people that had experienced traumatic events. Well, I got 9 people experienced traumatic events, including myself. And then I got one individual who was the perpetrator, who was raping men in the prison.
Damn. So you got the other side of it, too.
To tell his story. And I just came, I don't know, like the more that I was in.
I love that instead of going like that quote, whatever, you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. I love how instead of you getting angry and being like, oh, I'm a victim, whatever, you're like, nah, fuck that. I'm not letting that shit happen to me.
Facts.
And that's the best. Like,
and it definitely, it gave me opportunity to find a voice. Recovery and Kairos gave me opportunity to find my voice. And so I started even entrenching myself into recovery and learning all about the books, the steps, the principles, the promises.
yeah.
And so the more I was being involved in, the more staff was putting me into things. And I was there for 5 years, and then I signed up for another program because I had filled out for Judicial. All right. Now, throughout my time, I told you I had been fighting my case. So I ended up getting denied my appeals. Up to this point, I had like 5 times, maybe 6 times been denied. And I reached out to my prosecutor that got me to 20 years because his wife was also an attorney. His name is Michael Hess. When he answered the phone, this is recovery services. I'm working in recovery services as a program aide, and they let me call my prosecutor. I told him, thank you for saving my life. You sending me to prison gave me an opportunity to live. I said, I wanted to call you and ask you if I could ask your wife permission to do a judicial for me. I'm coming up on 10 years. There's a new law says after you do half your time, if you're doing over 10 years, that you can file for judicial. He said, well, I can do it. I'm like, man, you're the man that took me to trial.
You're the
How
enemy.
do you do it? He's like, man, it's a Circleville. So I said, all right. I said, how much would you charge me? He said, $1,500. I'm like, whoa, $1,500, that's a lot of money. I'm like, well, can you at least do it 2 times? He said, yeah, I'll do that for you. I'm not thinking I'm going to be denied. I'm thinking like everything that I've been accomplishing, this was
Certainly
property crimes, no one was home.
Yeah.
Like they're going to say, hey, all right. Well, at this time I had 181 certificates. I got the money and paid him. He came down to Marion, and they called me up to the warden's area, and he was in the office, and we had a conversation. He hugged me. I cried, and it was crazy for me to see the man that put me away.
Say there, fighting
was now
for you
willing
now.
to fight to get me home.
Yep.
It made me think of American Gangster, that movie when that cop arrested him. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I said, this doesn't happen. This just doesn't happen, man. This is something.
Yeah, but you went above and beyond. You like took the actions. That's why it happened.
Yes, sir. And you know what I mean? It's by the grace of God, man. Things I can't explain happened to me, and I'm like, dang, where did that happen?
Talk to us about
Yeah.
release and today, and
Okay,
and then
so-
what message would you want to send to a kid that was in a similar situation you were in?
All right. So just wrapping it up, man, I ended up going to 10 prisons, and I ended up becoming one of the most accomplished inmates in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, didn't you have wasn't there like a specific like statistic? Did you say something like
Yes,
that about
there's a
yourself that
statistic
you're
that
like
I had learned that said out of 100% of the people that go to prison, 86% come back. It said, but the 14% that don't come back are the ones that took educational programs behind prison walls. So I invested myself in every program I could. I didn't know if I was going to make it home, but I knew that I wanted my family to see somebody different.
change?
And I made a video that I sent out that got put on YouTube. There's so much stuff that happened during COVID. I sent videos out from London. They got picked up by the news. I spoke at a protest with a friend that put a bullhorn in front of his phone downtown during COVID. So many things was occurring in my life, but I stayed the course and kept moving forward. Now, me getting released, I got released from Chillicothe. I had just left Grafton 4 months before that and graduated from a program called Prison Fellowship. I made valedictorian of the program. Yesterday, they just contacted me and chose me to be one of their success story of Ohio.
That's amazing.
And they did an interview with me over the phone. I came home, I got TC. So bringing it all to a head, in 2017, I won my appeal, my 10th appeal. I told y'all I got my paralegal license. I kept fighting. I won my appeal, and they took 20 months off of my sentence.
Okay.
They took me back to court, to Circleville, in 2020, March 2020, right before COVID. And when the judge, they had me in the county jail, so they didn't take me all the way to their courthouse. When we did the hearing, my attorney that went to trial with me was standing beside me, and we're talking. They ask everybody if they have anything to say. They say no, just take the 20 months off of the sentence, leave the rest of the sentence intact. He comes to me, and I finally take ownership for the burglaries, for affecting this community, because I went to trial. I never took ownership for nothing.
Right.
So I apologize, man. And they knew me because I had been fighting my case. They knew me because their own prosecutor ended up becoming my attorney. Mm-hmm. He got denied both times, but he fought for me. I came to TC because of me getting good days, getting my time knocked off. What is TC? They're transitional control. You do the last 6 months of your sentence inside of a halfway house. So they sent me to that Alvis house. Now, people told me that I should chill. I should wait. I've been gone all this time. Lay back. Enjoy. Not me. I came home immediately and got started. I found out where the Alvis 180 was. I went to the Alvis 180 for the first 13 days. It took me 13 days to gain my OSHA 30, my forklift license, my Serve Save license, and my flagger certification. I completed that. I went to the Urban League. I took their 4-week class. Then I went to the Arch program. Then I went to the CEO program.
You didn't miss one.
And the Urban League ended up paying for my company, a motivational speaker company. I ended up being the keynote speaker at their graduation. I spoke at the State House on April 6th for Senate Bill 37. I spoke in Findlay, Ohio, at the Tyro fundraiser. I spoke at the Reentry Advisory Board meeting last month. I came home just never wanting to go back. So afraid of who I had to be in there, knowing that I couldn't be that out here. Everything that I've been through, there was people beside me that was pushing me when I didn't have the strength. I can remember the first poem I read was Footprints in the Sand. And there was a lot of time that I was around thousands of people but felt so alone. Since I've been home, people trust in me again. People rely on me. They call upon me. And that was getting to me at first because I'm like, man, no one called me in prison.
Right.
But I work at a solar place called Illuminate USA. They make solar panels in Pataskala. I did 17 and a half years. I'm making $26 an hour.
Damn, bud.
I went to Ohio Means Jobs, and they approved me for a $7,500 grant to go to CDL school at Roadmasters. And I put my 2-week notice in to the solar plant place, and two days ago they called me into the office and redacted it and said that they are going to give me a month off, let me go to the training and get my license and come back to work. There. They said I am a good worker and that they want to keep my type of person. I'm like, this is the promises.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Everything that has been happening to me. My father, he was a supervisor at Maryhaven. He took me to lunch. My mother, people want me in their houses. Yep. They want me around them today. I wouldn't change my past. I'm remorseful that I affected so many people by my decisions. Mm-hmm. But I know I wouldn't be who I am today had I not went through this. There are so many things that transpired during my stint in prison. But all they did was show me I was strong enough to get through it, to be here today. So what I do today is try to motivate people, try to give them aspects of themselves that they may not see. And I said, man, I just left a place where people would love to have your problems. They would love to switch you. So I'll be wanting to just show why we should be grateful for the grass, for the carpet, for the freaking comfortable chair I've been in this whole time. I ain't had nothing like this in the joint. But that's the things that propel me on a daily basis. And then when I ride down the same streets that I grew up in, Parsons Avenue, and I see all the homelessness, the despair, the drug addiction, I'm like, wow, man, it's hard. People, I go into the gas station, they got sticks with extendos and everything. And I'm like, I learned that from a music video. Yep. But I'm like, the words, I'm sitting there like, bro, this is reality. This ain't a video game. This is not a video. These kids are out here
real life
hurting each other because there's no direction. There's no purpose. There's no commitment. And so I want more for myself, and I have learned when I'm at my best, others gain.
I mean, I can tell you this, man. I obviously met you last week, and you're a hell of a speaker, and I mean, you're killing it, man. You're helping a lot of people, and again, against all odds, 17 years, 20 years to be here is doesn't happen all the time. So,
man, every great individual went through wildernesses, women and men.
We're excited to put this up.
But yeah, that was.
I thank y'all for even letting me be a part of this.
Yeah, dude, thanks for coming out last second.
Blows my mind.
I didn't know it was on this scale. I just want to be a vessel, man, and I hope that people will see that. Don't feel sorry for me, please don't. And listen, consequences come from our actions. I had to endure the consequences because I was harming so many people, and now because of that, I'm able to help so many people, and I want to help so many people. Something I say a lot is, it said, love thy neighbor as thyself. Well, I didn't love myself, so I didn't care about my neighbor. Now I love myself. Now I love my neighbor.
You're killing it, dude. Keep it up.
Thank y'all.
Any opportunities I have would come up and let you know.
I appreciate it, man. Lewis, man, you doing the same thing, carrying the message. All y'all in here, man, y'all making a way for others to tell their story, man, to help maybe someone that may not even know they need help. I salute you.